Welcome back, 412-575-2600 on the Borders and Borders hotline. Give us a call. Want to hear your thoughts about the news of the day. Of course, a couple of roster moves made by the Pirates this afternoon. Corey Dickerson's back, Jung-Ho Kang is back, and so is Michael Feliz. Maybe not as exciting, the third one, as opposed to the other two. However, that is the situation, and let's talk about it. 412-575-2600. We will start with Chuck in Uniontown. Chuck, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, JT, and thank you.
Good to talk to you, Chuck.
Yeah. Well, for one thing, I'm confounded as to why Mitch Keller wasn't brought in, I think he should have started last night, but that's another story. But
right.
Josh, it seems like the Pirates so often, innumerable times, they get to these pivotal points where if they would make the common sense move, the move that, it just almost intuition tells you to move, to make a move, to improve the club. Because, Josh, there are some good elements on this team right now, but they just need that extra little link to solidify themselves as a contender. And it seems to me it's this final link that they need to really sort of be a contender. It's not that they can't do it. It seems to be that they won't do it. And it's just frustrating because, if they would make the right move in each key situation, it would permeate down through the entire organizations, because you have to realize that the players see what's going on, and they see these people outside of the organization that can help them.
Yep.
And the Pirates don't go after them.
I got to cut you short here, Chuck, because we don't have a lot of time to go through each segment. But all great points. I'll point back to an interview that Dallas Keuchel did a couple of weeks ago on the 7 The Fan. And the topic of, Joe Musgrove did an interview, and the topic of Dallas Keuchel came up, and he said, he could help this team. He could definitely help us. Plus, Musgrove's a former teammate of his. And Keuchel's a left-hander who won a Cy Young Award. So, of course, he's going to be in demand. So, yes, of course, there's guys that can help this team. And I'll kind of concur with what you're saying with this particular thing. When it comes to certain things that could be done with this team, I always do the same thing now. I look at a move that would make a lot of sense that I don't expect to happen because it makes too much sense. And then there's a move that I think they might do because it kind of fits their modus operandi. For some odd reason, there is the common sense move that you talk about. And that's the one that I always look at and say, that's the one they're not going to do because it makes too much sense. And then there's the other move that says, oh, well, they probably think this about this guy, and they probably think a little bit too much about him, and that's why they don't get rid of him, which is why Paul Zeiss and I literally talked last night, and Paul asked, well, why don't they get rid of Nick Kingham? And I said, well, they're probably worried about not losing him on waivers if they have to designate him for assignment because he's out of options to be sent down. And today they designate him for assignment, which is a move they probably should have made. Like you said, there are some things that are just simple. And I think that's the one thing that separates this team from some of the other ones that are kind of in their position. Teams that are right there on the cusp, teams that are hovering around or near 500, maybe a little bit above, maybe a little bit below, but they could be better, more well-suited teams if they just made some of the smaller decisions correctly. And sometimes those are the things that trip them up. So a really good point there by Chuck. Let's go to John in Green Tree. John, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Thanks for taking my call, man. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Just to answer your question, why did we make all these roster moves, man? Because it seems like Cole Tucker was a good man. Why did we do that?
Did you see Kevin Newman play? That's why. When Kevin Newman's playing as well as he did, you don't need Cole Tucker. And that's nothing against Cole Tucker. That's just a testament to how good Kevin Newman's been. And the thing that made the difference for me, not only is Kevin Newman playing solid defense. Now, granted, Cole Tucker's playing really good defense, too. I can make the argument that Tucker's defense might be a little bit better than Newman's, and you wouldn't be wrong. But Newman, the way he's been hitting since he came back from his injury, he's been fantastic. As much as we talk about how good Brian Reynolds has been, as much as we talk about how Bell has been, Kevin Newman has solidified himself as the best option right now at shortstop. And once again, sending Cole Tucker down is nothing against him. He's actually starting to hit again. But for about a month, Cole Tucker wasn't hitting. Kevin Newman showed up. Kevin Newman started hitting, and that's the reason why he's in the lineup. And he's leading off, which I love, by the way. I think that's a great thing. Let's go to Joe in Penn Hills. Joe, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Josh, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Good.
like Chuck, he had a lot of things. We know what's going on with this organization. We got nothing. But the thing is, what's really bothering me is this merry-go-round. Felice's last 10 days ago, he gives 3 walks. Grand slam, they won't bring Vasquez in because he's only used for saves. But the other day, we were winning 6-1, and he brought Vasquez in. There's no save. I mean, hypocrites. They talk stupid. And then they bring Felice back, and he loses the game. What is going on? They have nobody in the minors. That's how bad Huntington has drafted, that we are this kind of a team, and they're so cheap. That's why, like Chuck says, and you say, but we just don't use the word, but that's what they are. They're terrible. But Felice, again, they just keep bringing these same rejects. Now, what's that guy, Neverlowski or whatever?
Neverowskis, yeah.
He brings him up. He got a 10 earned run average. Kingman stayed 2 weeks too long, 10 run average.
Agreed.
What happened to this team of pitching we're supposed to have? At least we should have somebody down in the minors that can, like the kid that pitched 13 strikeouts last night.
Mitch Keller.
See, they're ridiculous. Huntington's got to go. Hurdle, he's just collecting a paycheck, and we know what nutting is. And thanks for letting me vent here, Josh.
You hit a lot of points. You were doing okay. No problem at all. You were on fire there for a second. And you hit on a lot of good points there. Mitch Keller not being in the rotation when you don't have Jamison Tyone and you don't have Trevor Williams makes no sense to me. That's the thing that makes no sense. You don't have your 2 best, most consistent starters. They're both out with injuries. Jamison Tyone, we might not see him until after the All-Star break. And you have an opportunity to bring up a guy who's your top pitching prospect and can help you immediately. You let Mitch Keller in for 1 start. Now, granted, yes, he had that really rough first inning. But then he settled himself down and went and did okay. Then he goes back to the minors and strikes out the side 4 times. It makes absolutely no sense. It makes no sense. As far as the depth in the bullpen is a really tricky issue because if you would hear it from other people coming into the season, especially from them, they liked their depth in the bullpen. Now, there were some reasons to be optimistic. Of course, Felipe Vasquez, you feel fine about him. Kyle Crick, I have probably the most confidence in him besides Felipe Vasquez. Then there were guys like Keone Keller, who was shut down last year because of a shoulder injury. Now he's shut down now because of a shoulder issue, so that becomes a problem. So now you lose one of your best back-end guys. That's not good. Richard Rodriguez was supposed to be a guy that they were going to rely on more because of how well he pitched last year, and he's gone in the complete opposite direction. Michael Feliz, he continues to be hit or miss. He's been feast and famine since the moment he first came up and pitched a game here. He's always been a feast or famine guy. And it might be just an adjustment or two with him, but I totally agree with you. It seems like there's always one thing short. I joked about this last night with our producer, Steve Benko, how they're just going to be a day late and $1 short team because either they just wouldn't spend for the guy that can make the difference or they just couldn't make the right decision, even when it didn't involve money. Just making the right decision as to who to call up and who to keep sometimes makes a difference with what this team is dealing with. And I think all those things are solid points. We got to take another break. We'll take more phone calls, and we might even answer some tweets when we come back. Stick around.